Okay, welcome to Trade. Good afternoon, traders. Hope we're all doing well today and having a fantastic day. Welcome to Trade Setup and the live stream for the 18th of January 2017. Now let's get right into it today. We've got a few things just to discuss just before we get started. Firstly, just looking at the live setup page, we've got all the you can join us if you can. Join us on Twitter. Right-hand corner, there's the link to Facebook, and down the bottom, you can just subscribe to us through YouTube. We've got a general advice warning as per usual. Just go through that when you get a chance. We don't give personal advice or anything like that with anything we discuss during the streams. What I just wanted to go through, just to kick it off with, we're going to change the structure. As we probably mentioned in the last few streams, we've been just tossing up ideas because it's really just in the process of filling out the waters and seeing how everything goes. What we probably do as of the start of next week. So this week, the next few days will be as per usual, but next week we'll probably just do what we're looking at is just doing 2 days a week, just to stream 2 days a week, but we will do daily presentations. Okay, so the 2 days a week would be more dedicated to what the market's doing and just looking at stocks. Anything you want to really. We'll have a few ideas about what we want to look at. Um, as usual, just more dedicated to chatting with you guys about what ideas you've got, what ideas we've got. So that will just be 2 days a week. But what we'll do is the presentations each day, put together the videos, and we'll be uploading them. So we'll send out an alert in the morning. Just this is the idea we're tossing around at the moment. Setting up the video, sending out the alerts in the morning, just so you can all look at them whether you're on the train and on the way to work or just when you're getting over a coffee. So yeah, let me know what you think anyway. Just whack into the chat. What that gives you an opportunity is just to put together, it seems to be day by day, is just getting a bit too much, really. It's a bit too complicated. So it's probably not the best for everyone. If you actually just put in your charts or anything you want to do, you can send it through to the email address. Look, if even outside those chats, if you want to send through emails and just have a bit of a discussion on something that you're looking at, feel free. There's no worries about that. Send it through to support@tradesetup.com.au and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Anyway, let's get into it. What else was there? Oh, okay. Yep, and just remembering that if you're having problems with just the quality of the YouTube channel, just remember you can go to the bottom right corner when you hold your mouse over the actual stream, and there'll be a little spinning wheel settings. Just left click on that and go to quality and whack it up there. There you go, just did myself. All right, so what we're going to talk about today, but just in a few minutes, will be the topic of the day is just one for the sweet tooth. Is this stock ready to surge? We'll play that video in a moment. It's probably a bit misleading in the way that we're not talking about any lollies or anything like that. It's more Coke. So we're going to discuss Coke today, CCL and the ASX. We'll get into that. If anyone's been following that market's been down for a while and it looks like it's starting to show some promising signs. So we'll discuss that more in depth a bit later. We'll get into the markets just now. Did have a question recently I'll go over that in just a second when we look at the ASX chart. Market's down 36. What we had, I'll just go through the actual indices. The indices, the US was down on the ASX index, not the futures, was down 6.75 points. The Dow was down around 60 points. UK was down just over 100 points actually, and DAX, well, they're sort of the main ones we look at, was only down 14 points, so that didn't do too bad. What do we have? The British Prime Minister come out overnight and put more, discuss more of, or outline more of what they're actually looking at going into Brexit and how they're going to attack that. So I think the main concerns over there is it going to be a hard exit, or is it going to be a bit better structured? Is it going to be a bit staggered? So I think they eased a bit of concerns there, and you can see the pound actually bounced quite strong, about 300 pips, I think, 2 to 300 pips. So that bounced very strong. But obviously the UK, the index was still down. The equities didn't take it so well. In the US, not much. I think it's still some reporting. We're well into the reporting, so it's like we discussed the last probably a few sessions that if these reports, the company reports, don't kick off really, really well, well, they've got to come in. I think they've got to come in at least as meeting expectations or higher, and give really good outlooks, because this market is a bit overcooked at the moment, and there might be a bit of profit taking just going into that, going to the, so we get deeper into the reporting season for the US. And also our old favourite, Trumpy boy. I just saw he's getting not, what do you call it? He's getting something against him for. I just saw it today. It popped out. How do you say? If anyone's following the news, he's got not charges, but a court against him for indecent something or other. Anyway, it sort of slipped my mind exactly what it was, but it's kind of weird that you get the US president getting attacked like that. Whether or not he did it is one thing, but it just seems like if that's the case and he's got all this baggage to claim, it seems like the wrong person in charge, in my opinion. But anyway, he could be good for the economy. We'll just have to see how that plays out. Now, obviously, that's the Trump effect. Is, like we mentioned previously, also, he's got to start showing the goods as he gets closer to getting sworn in, I think, and he's got to start implementing some of his, well, hitting up some of those goals. Just seeing something that's ticked off now. We'll discuss that in a second. So yeah, that's he's got to start producing the goods really for this market to keep going. So there's a few things starting to see prices getting sold off a bit. So we'll see how that goes. We'll go over that in a minute. Now, Paul EMC down, yeah, that's great timing for our talk yesterday, but not the best today. It's still holding in there. That trend is still holding. It has spiked up through that. Was it 90, 90, 90, 90, 93? Hopped up through there. If it breaks down below 85, then yeah, that was more of a washout than anything else. I still think that structure looks quite good. We'll just have to see how that plays out. We've got another couple that have, I don't know if anyone's been following with the alerts. BRN just really kicked off today. That's great. We've taken half off around the 30 mark. We were in at 22 and a half, somewhere down here. And that's kicked off quite strong, and it's just gone a bit further. So we've got our exits around 28, 28 and a half. I think it's actually maybe 27. So might have to raise that later today. Send out an alert. That's kicked on strong. That's up about 40 to 50% at the moment. On there since the entry. What else we got there that's kicked on? There's one that just SAS. That has been a bit of a slow mover of late. The last few sessions, like we had our entry that triggered just around 8.6 cents, and it's just kicked up today. Traded 8.9. It's got to high as 9 actually, so that's starting to show some really nice signs. That's promising. I like that one there. That could really kick on. You look at the daily; it's got a lot of room to move on the upside, and the weekly has too. It looks like it could. We're just looking for that extension up to 11 at least, or even just to wipe out those highs to break through. But we'll see how that plays out. We got one. VLW, remember we were discussing that as a dividend play? That's kicked on quite nice. So really do like that. Look, we'll come back to these in a minute. We'll just go over the, had a question just before we get into about the morning report. I don't know if anyone looks at this too much. The morning report's the first alert to come out in the morning around 9 o'clock, only because the markets are closed a bit later. Normally it's earlier than that. It's in during winter. Sorry, just having my coffee. You can see we mark in these scenarios. So I think we've discussed this in streams in previous streams. What well, I don't know what that's doing like that for. What I like to do, and I think most people really to get into a habit of doing, is just preparing a market where they think, you put in your key levels. So we always marking up, we get in the habit of marking up the key levels where we think, so there's a key level right up here at 57.60. It's a fair way off at the moment, but you've got a minor level here at 57.44, but that's to me is not as significant because you had see that big contraction back up to 57.60 after that solid move down, contraction back up, then we started rolling over. So this more is this leg down. So we've had that one. We just mark it up actually. Continue. No, it's not continuous. So I just want to go on while we look at it. So that was the first leg down. Then you had your contraction, and then you had your second leg, which we're in the midst of that at the moment. Don't know if that's ending just yet, but the difference between the two, that's just really just finishing that leg down, and then we had another push down. So that's not as key a level. So what we're saying is that we like to mark up our levels where we're going to see some action or reaction. You can see down here that the price has bounced off this level twice, a double bottom, and now it's all the way back down there at 56.53. So we've marked up that as a key level. Where we expect something to happen, at least buyers to step in the market, sellers to run out of steam. So what we look at from there is the markets, just expand that out a bit more. So the way we attack it and the way we prep it up is just to put in likely scenarios. As going into the morning, you don't know what's going to happen. Obviously, the idea is to follow the trend down. So we're looking for obviously shorting opportunities. Unless we start to see this top of price section pop up, we don't know why. It could pop up on the open and then start building some higher lows. And then you've got enough of contraction once you see this. We could MA Smart start coming together and especially we're in a sell zone. So oversold or overextended to the downside. We're in that zone coming into the open. So we like to mark up that as a potential scenario going up. We don't know, just to break out and then push its way back up. Then we've got that scenario of going down. We expect some sort of reaction off 56, 53. May get that bit of a bounce, contraction off it, and then roll over again. So we just like to mark up, and then you've got that others. The last scenario is really just like that, Clement. What we're looking at is that last scenario with the blue. It's just really a choppy price action. It's not really a trending day. There's no clear direction. It may just be spend most of the day, bouncing around, taking out some highs, washing out, and just more trying to find a base. So that's the way we see, and that's a bit harder to trade into those sort of that choppy price action because you can get, say you trade off your lower high, as in this stage, market's pushed up, you get your lower high, you sell into it, and then it doesn't go very far and it starts pulling back on you. So that's a tad harder to trade, but either way, you just want to mark up the different scenarios which you're looking to trade, and you try to where to trade them. So potentially we could trade off, in this scenario, you want to be looking for, push out a contraction, you build those higher lows, and then you're looking for that potential move up. Here, follow the trend down, which was obviously the play of the day today. A bit harder to trade just on the open, and then again these sorts of scenarios. These are a bit tougher to trade, obviously you'd think, just because it's a bit choppier for the day. When the market's the buyers, and it's starting to equal out. Buyers and sellers are starting to equal out. There's a few people, the market's been moving south, maybe find some support. Buyers are starting to step in a bit more force. Sellers are getting a bit weak. We get some late sellers getting washed out of the market and then finding a base, and same reverse for a move higher. So either way, we just like to mark up what scenarios we see, and then you just want to have a clear idea in your head of how you attack it. That's got to do with your own personal entries. But we do basically, as with these scenarios, what we would do is we'd be leaning towards one, obviously. I mean, me personally, I would have been leaning, because of the MAs were quite strong, and you can see this type of price action and the way it sold off into the close, I'd be leaning to the downside. I would have expected, which didn't happen today, a lot of the times they wash out say this level here at 57.07, may pop up, wash it out, and then start rolling over from there. It was only about 10 or 15 points, which it can do, especially with the futures open, 10 minutes or 15 minutes before the ASX opens fully. So it can actually wash out and then start stepping its way lower. So that's the way we attack that. let's just go on to just taking a look at the Aussie. The Aussie's kicking higher. I was actually having a go at this yesterday. Didn't do the best. Pretty much a flat day overall. Made something on the ASX, but that I was looking for that long originally, but then it started looking like it was going to roll over. So I was going each way really, and just that last one didn't take enough out of it to make it a profitable day. But it really kicked on overnight. You can see that it was just this is a 1 hour chart. You can even go to a half an hour. It looks quite good. You can see that coming into contraction. So you're holding high lows, you're holding lower highs as well. So you just know that sooner or later, one way is going to win. One way is going to go out. And you can see the overall trend has been higher. So I was leaning towards a long. Just needed some key levels to be broken. That broke, was it later in the day? So it was up near about 3 o'clock, 2 to 3. It really kicked off through that 74.86 level. And that's where that longs really started taking hold and winning out for the day. And it really pushed up high overnight, took out these highs. So that's definitely looking quite strong on the Aussie. Well, I haven't gone through the longer term structure, but just to see where it's going. Euro sort of playing out like we said. It kicked on. You had the US sold off overnight, so you can see these stochastics are starting that move up, starting to weaken a bit. So it might play out like we said, but it's still got a fair bit to go. That's an hourly chart as well. Yeah, that trend is still higher until we start seeing that lower high. So if you're looking for shorts, you want to be selling off something like a lower high and just see what happens from there. Then you have to just manage your trade as you go. And if you work out wrong, you might have something up your sleeve to play with. The pound bounced back really hard. So it held down that level. We did get a washout of that 120.49, like we mentioned previously, but it just didn't go anywhere. Then you built that minor higher low. You could see just at 120.13, and then obviously some good news. What the British Prime Minister said really gave, really buoyed that pound and really bounced straight back hard. And you can see we got through that key level at 123.20 now. So expect a bit of from here. It's gone right up into that resistance zone. From here, we'd expect that to potentially provide a bit of support. We don't. I mean, that trend down is not over. We may get a bit of contraction. We may sort of bounce around here. It's not really well drawn up, and then head south. But then from there, obviously, you just want to see whether the market's. That's not very well. Whether the market starts building some higher lows. It didn't come out very well at all. So it's just the right hand side of the chart's not very good. If we can draw it over here, you just want to see if it pushes up and then pulls back, starts edging its way low. You just want to see. It's not going on a good day today with this. Let's just delete that. Yeah, we'll try that again. Continue. Let's just delete that. Right. So then you want to see evidence of those higher lows, giving the market some strength. All right. All right. Any questions? Anyone been following those? Yeah, obviously, I know. I think it was Michael. Been following the currencies a bit. What we'll do now. Yes, with the pound, sorry, just before I finish, I know it's broken that sort of key level. So you're either looking for contraction, you're looking for a major higher low to start building, and that should take us up and through that high at 124.42, which should be up towards attacking. The next steps are taking that 127.74, but or we just go into some consolidation, just hold these this level at 124.28 and start rolling over from there. Still a fair bit of work to play out there. Let's get into the video now. Short on euro from this morning. Good work. Good work. Yeah, I don't like the euro just at longer term, as much. What have we got here? Just go out to, yeah, you can see it's the only, I mean, look at that on a daily basis. It's getting a bit extended up here, that correction back up, and that's why I'm sort of favoring that downside. You just want to go down to the lower time frames to get those shorts on, just get the entry signals, but it's getting a bit stretched up here, and you can see that it's got nowhere. That's your 1/3 to 2/3 sort of contraction of that leg down, which is good to see that. And then you just want to see those lower highs build, and just really that should take us down and through that support. It could just go down, tag there, and go back up, but then you still, and this is the idea behind trading, you're trying to get in at the unknown and then just see what plays out. If you're wrong, you're wrong, but you might still get something up your sleeve. If you go short here and it does go down and retest that, you can have a positive outcome anyway, and you can just lock in some gains. But if you just get that next leg down, you're getting in nice and early. You're not waiting to see if it break those lows on the bigger time frames. That's the ability to be able to, you've got your base chart, whether it's a daily and you go down to an hourly for your entries, or whether it's a half an hour. I know like you do, Michael, I think, and looking at a 5-minute entry, but basing it off, your moves, your solid moves off maybe your half an hour chart as your anchor chart. I think just trying to define your trading that way I think it's going to bring you, it's just going to do well for you anyway. enough going on there. Let's get into the video now. Like I said, we're going to be talking about Coke. So I think it's got a fair bit of prospect there. This is a short video. We're just going to try to keep them short but sweet. It's pretty easy. I mean, there's a lot out there on Coke. It's easy to Google and just find out some more information. You can go to their websites, but you just want to Google what the latest news release are. But we'll go through sort of the key headlines. Let's get started. Let's get into it. Let me pause myself again and then press play. Cheers, guys. Okay, welcome to TradeSetup, the live stream for the 17th of the 1st, 2017. Okay, topic for today we've entitled One for the Sweet Tooth. Is this stock ready to surge? Okay, we're going to take a look at something that a stock that everyone knows or everyone must know by now, Coca-Cola, CCL on the ASX. We'll kick it off by looking at the key fundamentals, a few of the key fundamentals anyway, and then we'll just get into the charts, jump straight back into the charts and take a look at what we think could be happening down the track and why we believe this one could really have some potential to kick on higher. Okay, I just want to bring this up just to kick it off with. This is Coca-Cola's Twitter page. I found this phenomenal. Followers, 3.31 million followers. So if you can assume they're dedicated Coke drinkers, couple of cans a day, a couple of bucks a day per person. That's going to be phenomenal, isn't it? So anyway, I just found that it gave me a bit of a giggle when I saw that. Looking at the business now, you can go to the website www.ccamatel.com. Just go in there and you can see the current news flow of Coke. Obviously, there's not much to talk about with Coke's business. They manufacture and distribute different drinks. Obviously, Coke, water, sports drinks, fruit drinks. Coffee and packaged ready-to-eat fruit and vegetable products. Now, I don't follow Coke that much, obviously. I didn't realize some of the things they actually do. They've also got down here, they're into spirits, which is the old, if you're a bourbon drinker, if they package and distribute Beam products, global spirits and wines, which consist of Jim Beam, Canadian Club, Maker's Mark, and the Famous Grouse. So they've got operations, you can see here, in Australia, New Zealand, Fiji, Indonesia, Papua New Guinea, and Samoa. All right, we'll just look at a few of the key facts. You've got 4.5% dividend yield, and that looks like it's been relatively steady the last few years, about that 4 to 4.5% mark. So they're just on top of that there. You can go through. You can obviously just pause this and take a look at those numbers if you like. A bit later on, there's a whole lot of gibberish really. What we'll take a look at now is this we'll take a look at the actual technicals. Actually, we'll kick it over to the news flow. Okay, just looking at the news flow, there has been a lot of news articles to take note of. A lot of these things, dividend distributions, announcements. I think the key thing, which I've just been reading, and I'll just get the article up for you in a second. Here it is. This is from Motley Fool. So I think a key thing they've been, why the share price has been under pressure is they've been cost cutting, obviously. So a lot of that cost cutting, it's cost them a bit of money, and it looks like people haven't been taking that too well. But it's also, they've expanded into Indonesia, which I think hasn't gone exactly to plan. So it's cost them a bit of money. They've also had a capital injection from what they say mum and dad here, the parent company in the US, of 500 million. I think they're yet to tap into that just yet. And there's also an issue of a blanket legislation enforcing the sugar levels a lower sugar level in drinks. And it looks like, you can just look through here, virtually every drink in Australia contains approximately 1/10 of its volume as sugar. 360 mils equals 36 grams of sugar. A can of Coke contains 40 grams. So I think there's just little things like that which have come out, and it's actually put pressure on the share price. But if we take a look at now, we'll just go through and have a look at the actual technicals now. We'll kick it off with a weekly chart, which we can see here. It's quite interesting, and this is why I think they've come under quite a bit of pressure. And you had that sell down from the highs back in 2013 of way up at 15, say 15.50 a share. Sold all the way down and reached in the initial thrust down, reached to 8.18 a share. Did pop back up, which you can see up to about $11 a share, and then come back down and retested this 8.18 level. Actually pushed a bit further below, so around about $8 a share. And just recently, in the last a few months, I guess, it's back. We've lifted off there around mid 2016. Picked up off that $8 a share, and we just took out those minor highs there. So we've got a few key levels now, which may or may not come under fire. Let's just draw it up here. So we've got that, say 8 to 8.50, or sorry 8.30, that sort of support line there. We've got a key level way up here at about 15.50 a share. And the main, just draw the wrong thing there. The main level we just want to keep an eye on, where it could come under a bit more pressure, it may run out of steam, whatever, if it's going to move up, is that 10, say $11 a share. So we had that, that was an initial push down, and then we did take out a few of these minor lower highs, which you can see through here on the push back up. And then we come all the way back down and retested that zone. So we tested it quite a few times, and you can see there's a key level here, which we pushed back into that zone around $8 a share, popped back up, made a sort of a lower high in there as well, and then pushed back down and retested, and then we just basically popped back up and took out those lower highs. But there is a key level right up at about $11 a share at the moment. So what we're just keeping an eye on is this. This is obviously confirmed on the weekly basis, confirmed high or low. So if this can support the price and we get a few more, we'll go down to the daily share price, sorry, the daily chart, a bit more higher lows, a bit more buyers happy to step in off this major level around $8 a share, 8.50 a share, and just buy it up. When we start to get that projection back up and we start pushing up towards 11, if that can come under fire, take that level out, and then start building, just building for a move to work its way back up towards that 15.50. We'll just go into the daily chart now. Okay, here's a daily chart. One thing I should have just pointed out, on the weekly, we're getting a bit stretched up at this level as we got up towards that was it 10.35 zone, which we did just wash out the previous high, only by a few cents, I think. And then we're just currently backing off there, and we've got a key level down at, which is a high low on the weekly basis at 9.20, so give or take 9.20. Price has backed off, but you can see it's getting to oversold territory, but price hasn't got anywhere near that support line there. So that would lead us to believe that we're going to get buyers starting to step in soon. And just remembering that $11 a key level on the weekly chart, which we could be heading up to. So what we'll do, we'll just draw what we're looking at seeing now is maybe we might get a bit more action. Then we want to see evidence where buyers are starting to step in and maybe lifting it off that support zone there. Okay, and some higher lows starting to hold. And we may even, this may take a while because there's probably still a fair bit of negativity around the share price, but you can see that it's definitely lifted off. So we had that big push down, pop back up, made a lower high on the weekly basis, big push down and retest, pop back up, retested that lower high pretty much at this stage here, about 9.40. Push back down. So the whole time this level was holding around that 8 to 8.50 zone. And then we had that big push up off that zone there. We just draw that up. So that's the key level. So what we're trying to look for now is that extension. If we can just, match that up there, we get that, and that should take us, if we can get this higher low holds on a weekly basis and we get a bit more contraction here, maybe we pop in some higher lows, some evidence of buyers stepping into the market at lower prices around this zone, around the 9.60 to 9.90 zone. Buyers starting to pick up some shares in there, and that puts pressure on the sell side and starts pushing price up. We could be heading up towards initially that 11.48, which would take us through that $11 zone. So that would be nice to see. Otherwise, if we're going to run shorter there, then we may just back off, build another major high low, and then on we go. But either way, I think that share price has definitely got some potential there. As that negativity starts to ease its way out of that price, buyers are looking to step in, buy it. I think it's as a dividend stock too, it's quite attractive at lower prices. currently around this price here. May or may not be attractive to some people, but I think the technicals are showing a bit of a sign that buyers are stepping in. We've taken out these key levels with that push up to 1035. We've built that high low, and what we're expecting now is a bit more contraction, potentially a high low to push us up and through $11, which is a key level, and then from there we could just work our way back up to the highs. But we'll see how that plays out. Okay, thank you. Okay, we're back on board, guys. Before we kick into the stock, so any questions just on that? Mainly to do with the actual technicals there. They look look quite positive anyway. If not, what we'll do is we'll just get over to see where the market is still. It's still down at 33 mark. Holding these lows just at this current time. I'm just looking at a couple of stocks that we got. This one here, I just sort of fell off my radar for a little bit. We were looking at it around here. I just want to explain. I mean, sometimes you miss them, which is a bit of a bummer. And that one's really kicked on strong. It's was it Steadfast Group? Just to go over what we're looking at there, I'll just do my old little screen snapshot. Right, it's only just recently we were looking at that, and it was through. Oh, that's probably not it. It's more through these highs is why we liked it, and you can see it's holding those high lows through there. Looking for it to push up in there at that 240 zone. Now, what we were waiting for, that was the other key level. It was back at this stage, just when it started. No, back at here. Looking for it to pop up, and we really to get involved in that one. This is why sometimes it's just got to, I guess, go with the flow. You miss your entry, and that's why, I mean, there's a lot of stocks to be viewing anyway. So there's always going to be something playing out, and that's why sometimes I like to keep my idea in the back of my head that I've got to try and be mechanical with it. Not everything has to work in my favour. So just watching for that setup, and if it doesn't work out, then even if it does kick on like this one did, so be it. It's just the nature of the game. We'll just go and look for something else. So I was at that stage just looking for a bit of that contraction before a push up and through this 220 level, which could have got us long. Hopefully it would have been nice just below 215, but as it was, it pretty much took straight up to 225, and that for me that was a bit hard to try to trade. Even with a breakout through here, I just found that the risk rewards of that, it was starting. I mean, that move is starting to get extended from here. I would have expected, if it got up to here, I would have really been looking for probably a deeper correction with a bit of contraction in there before heading higher. But it didn't play out that way. I don't know what happened a couple of days ago. It must have some good news, but either way, that's one that was on the radar. It's still there longer term. Yeah, it's just looking at a little bit stronger, starting to look a bit stretched. That's that most recent move up. Anyway, was it VLW we just mentioned before? That kicked on well from the dividend one, 239. A2M we've got. That's looking, I mean, look at that weekly there. It's a higher low. So it's had that good push up. Spent time contracting, built a high low around 130, pushed up, built another high low around 170, and then potential. This is a high low here around that 190 to $2 mark, and it's pushing up off that level now. You can see that. And the reason we think that is because it's just taken out some of these little lower highs. That was sort of a key level around 215. Pushed down, failed to get through that, down to 190, pulled back up, made another lower high, tried to get down again, and then about 195 it just found a double bottom and then just started picking up from there and just accelerated higher. So this looks like it's going to potentially keep going, and it'd be nice if it just kicked on up to 245. That would give us a chance maybe to take a bit of a partial on that one, just see what the rest does. Anything else? Is anyone looking at something that they just want to discuss? Get another opinion on either way. MVP's starting to show some good signs. look at that weekly chart. That's, I mean, that could really kick on. So I'd just be just keeping an eye on that one, guys. Yeah, that, look at that little flag starting to form, and if it breaks out through those highs, you'd expect it to really extend higher and attack that 560 at the very minimum, even higher, really to kick on and start taking out. That should just drag in a few buys, I'd expect. There'll be a lot of people out there that do know the story on that and are following the story on MVP. Alrighty, just going through a few more. AJX going well. That's kicking on nicely. Just look at that weekly as well. That weekly looks nice. It may have a bit of a pullback here, build a high low and then go again, or it could just extend straight up to, I'd love to see it extend straight up to 90 cents or so. Well, but that daily is starting to look a bit, yeah, it's holding that. It doesn't mean anything, but you know, you could just oscillate. If you're just going purely off stochastics, you just obviously just be careful. Just it could oscillate there until we see it starting to, you know, sellers starting to enter the market and knocking it down. Then, yeah, fair enough. What else do we have? I'm just going through a few of these others. Got to admit, I've got in NTI. That's not going the best. Wish that would hold up. I was expecting that to kick on. It did. You can see it broke up through here, and it's just looked like it's just going down with the market. We'll see how that keeps going. That's beautiful. I'm trying to think of anything else. GXL we've got. It's backed off a bit since we ended at 707. Just once it got through these highs, it did push up to 720, and then it's just backing off, but it's still holding. That trend is still holding up. It's got, as long as it doesn't go through 650, you know, that sort of higher low there, then you'd probably fall over from there. Yeah, we've got that, Clement. That looks nice, doesn't it? I don't know if you're in that. That's, yeah, do expect that just to, you see this, it's really nice. That just as a, you know, as a footnote, I guess. These sorts of things. Oh, let's just draw it up. All right, sassy. Now you can see why we do like this one is that, you know, you had this push up, and then what happened? It wasn't a deep pullback. You can see of this move higher. It wasn't deep previously, and then it just had a strong, you know, it's a seriously strong move up from about 4 cents to 11 and a half, 12 cents, and then we had that lower high come in, and that's just taking out some steam out of the market, um, really starting to back off. But just 1 second, just hold on 2 seconds there, guys. Sorry, we're there. So we had that strong move up, you know, contraction back in. We've taken out this low. Whoop, that was in a straight line. We've taken out that low there. Made another new low, but then what we did from there, we pushed up, and then had that pullback, and that was again a shallow move, and that's, you know, conducive to what's happened in the past too. It's a nice shallow move. You can see that the pressure was down, like it was getting a bit of sellers come in, but the buyers were just soaking it up around the $8, oh sorry, 8 cent mark. Um, yeah, so that's what we're looking at now is that really to start extending highest, and I think sort of next port of call, once it's got through the, you know, now that it's kicked up today, it touched on 9, the next port of call could be up to 11, so that's going to be a great little one if it kicks up there. But yeah, that, we just like that top of price action when it's you know, it pushes up, it pulls back. So if that was weak, that should have at least had a deeper correction you would have expected, and then potentially pushed up, built a lower high, and then gone and just taken out some of these lows and contracted a bit more the longer term. But instead, what we saw is this really shallow pullback. You know, you can see that move was quite down on the stochastics as a sign of strength to a move down, but the strength was there, but it was just getting soaked up, and that's led to another kick higher. So that looks good. What else we got? Let's keep an eye. Yep. No worries, Paul. No problems. Anything else? Just trying to think of anything else we've been keeping an eye on. Yeah, I think that was the one we alerted to yesterday. We've got our watch list there, but I do a few and I can never remember what I've done. World's worst memory, if you ask me. SDG was one. Now, this is SDG Sunland Group. What's it done? Something just done by all today. Not a lot. Had a big spike in volume yesterday. Nothing today. Yeah, you can see that one's more. That weekly starting is looking nice. Just get rid of that volume. That weekly is what to me is showing some nice signs, and you can see that high low is built at 150. So once it pops its head through 170, sort of that 170 mark, then that's confirmation of that high low, and then I'd be searching for an entry off the daily anyway. The only thing is both the daily is getting a bit extended up here towards 170. Doesn't mean it can't pop through, and that's why I'm leaning towards maybe a break up through 170 and then a bit of a pullback to build another higher low on a daily basis. And you can see that daily is extended, starting to roll over slightly anyway. It's good, probably find a bit of selling up here, but that's a clear high low anyway. So that's a good little one there. Any other questions, guys, just before we start winding down? Anything else we're looking at? Got a whole lot I've just got an eye on here. Collins Food Group that's been an alert in the past. It hasn't done much today. Did well on that, and we got out. I think we might have got knocked out. We took half at 6. I can never quite remember. Just get up my stats. CKF 537. So we got a bit late to the party there, but still took something out. Exited so at 598 and then 640. So the last exit was right. So what did I say? 537. So we got in here, and that look, it would have been ideal just to get into a push through 5, but again, sometimes you just miss them, but it's still really positive. Got in at 537. That kicked up. We got out of some there just because things were starting to look a bit extended, and if there was a pullback, we got it done on a pullback. I think it's at 598. Happy to get out there. Took some partial, and then we got done at that 640. Just with tightening stops and this is just one good example of the way I personally like to attack them. All right, so I just saw a few more comments pop up there. He inundated me all at once. You buggers. All right, so we had that to me at that stage, we were just looking to we potentially could be forming that lower high. And I thought, oh, going into Chrissy, don't know what's going to happen. Away from the computer, happy to lock in, tighten the risk up, and of course it got tagged. And that looks like it's actually it's in the process of pulling back a bit. And you can see that weekly is overextended up here. You don't have to look at any stochastic to see it's getting overextended, but that was a cracking one. Now, just to go over, what do we got here? Leanne, QBE. All right, let's just look at it then. Don't do that. Escape. 967-ish. That's good. Geez, you bought that. Couldn't have bought that much closer to the lows, could you? Well, look, on a daily anyway, that's let's just write the weekly. The weekly, I mean, either way, they're pretty much the same. Just at this present time, it's just that weekly starting to get a bit extended up here. Doesn't mean anything. If you pop it down to the daily, it's the reverse. So this could easily, you know, as we're selling off, it's starting to roll over on the daily. We're not making some seriously new lows. It's actually holding up, so that could easily pop. Buyers might step in just above 12 and then bang straight up through that 12.75 up to 13 and above. Um, just go back to the weekly and just quickly take a look at that. Yeah, that's just say that's like a double top up there. Well, it's got a left to right, taking our trend down. It's definitely, yeah, it's breaking out. It's starting to pop up, and we just got through a level here at around 12.50 after, and it's done, a fair bit of work around 10, and you can see it's pushed down, popped its head up to, what was that, 15, pushed back down again, and it couldn't get through. So generally, when they don't get through, it provides some good support. Buy a step up, then you get a deeper, pullback. The key level was up here at that stage as we moved down. So we got leg, contraction, leg, contracted, tried to go. Just take that line, tried to go and then couldn't do it, so had to pop back up. The key level was still way up here, the anchor. Tried again, and then it spent a lot of time and just gotten soaked up again and around that $10 mark. Had to pick back up as it struggled. Buyers were happy to, some further buying starting to step in, still building that lower highs. Then you got your key levels moved down. Key levels moved down as we pushed down again, washed out, and just really struggled. So you can see all that work it's done around 10, 950 to 10, and then it's just popped out and just popped up through 1250 and starting to show signs of breaking out. So that's good. It could actually have a bit in it. Um, it's something obviously that's on a weekly basis anyway, just to keep an eye on. But yeah, you can see that strong move up from 950, taking out these highs there at 1250. So I would expect a bit of contraction, but just again, when in a strong market, these could easily hold that high, just contract or oscillate around that high, just where it's broken out. People are waiting for a deeper correction, potentially like myself, and then they don't get it and they have to chase the market back up, and that's what you'd love to see. And that's just that power move higher. OSH. Oh, hope that helped there, Leanne. Yeah, sorry, with regards to that, it does look a bit like that. It's holding those that level, still holding up strong. No worries. OSH. I have to go in the weekly for that. I mean, again, that's still, we mentioned this just the other day. Key for me, you can see that, well, just to take in context of the monthly strong move up, and we're contracting on that monthly basis, but it's just holding up around 6. It's just rejecting. So just looking at this stage here, okay, on the monthly, it looks like it's a good buying. I mean, that's a very wide range, so you'd never trade from a monthly chart anyway. But you can see that even the stochastics are starting to pick up on that respect. A little bit starting to get extended up towards 775 highs. So we may just see some further contraction, but the key thing is it's got some lows down here when it pushed through 575, that little washout, popped back up, tried to go again, pulled up short at 6. Tried a fair few times and got pulled up short around 675. So that's some higher lows. We still got the lower highs in play though, but that's your initial signs that we need to see a breakout through 775, and then I'd be ideally looking for that pullback, that higher low to build on a longer term basis. But it's just, I think it's still got a bit of work to do anyway on OSH. Celtex. Yeah. See, Celtex for me is still holding a downtrend. It's still got, yeah, doesn't look good. not not that it looks bad. I mean, longer term, if you're looking at that, that is an uptrend, but it's this most recent action that we're looking at. We can see that on the daily. So if we just draw that up quickly, that's not what I want. And why I say that, because all right, so we know that that's an uptrend. All right, so it's had a good leg up. You're just looking at it in context of legs. So what's next? It's tried to, it's tried to base down here, tried to go through the highs, couldn't do it. So once it starts going through the highs, then the next step really for me is to start attacking those lows, purely because it has to get. It's what we've always talked about. getting fresh buyers in. Whoever's sitting on the sidelines, when it starts getting up here, you need fresh buyers to get in and be happy to pay higher prices, and then you need a lot of them to start pushing up. Now, when it can't do that, and especially you got this little heads up lower high, I guess you can call it. That's when, if you're long, especially if you're long from here, or if you're long just in this zone, say 32, whatever it is, I can never see those prices, 31.50 in this zone here. If you've got long in here looking for that press up through those highs and you get this little lower high, you'd probably want to just quickly nab a profit, book something. If you're long from down here, you're probably not too concerned because you expect a bit. If your view is on a weekly, monthly, whatever, longer term view is a lot higher, then you're probably happy to hold take a bit of heat on the trade anyway. So what we're looking for there is that leg up. Okay, what's going to happen? Is that going to continue higher? We're looking really, once you get that lower high and you see the market start to roll over, the next things come under the pressure is those lows, what we just said, and that is at the moment. Problem is it's still being pressured. It's got a level there at 3,500, I think. Some resistance, and then that held up, and then selling's come back in. We're starting to see that 31, it's 31 even, hold, and that could be the same type of pattern as this. But in context, this could just be contraction. So if that's the case, and we've pushed down, we've popped up, we're starting to do this type of price action, are we going to just go bang, take out these lows down here? Okay, around 28, 29, 28.50, and then start to build, and then you want to see a good push higher, and then more stronger price action. So there's no real solid evidence of buyers starting to step in. I mean, people are still selling it and happy to take lower prices at the moment as they maybe take profit, who knows. But that's the low that's coming under fire. It's not completely over. If we start popping up through 31, okay, then maybe that's going to hold. But then for me, longer term, I want to see that attacked at 35, maybe then that pullback, build a major high low, something like this, to go up, and then look for your entry. So once it breaks through, if that makes sense there, that's that level. So that bit of a play down here, push straight back up through 35, major high low in here, and then that push up. So that's the way I'd be looking anyway. Caltex just recently sold, yeah. So issue is a Macquarie profile. If you advise significant correction on Dow is close about end of Jan. Yeah. Stock code. Okay. It's, yeah. So the only way to put the stock code's only there. The prices, yeah, they are a bit small, aren't they? Sorry, Paul. Well, what I'll actually do, and you can see it, and you can always replay it. Anyway, we'll see what we can do going forward. It might be better on Ninja. I'm just wondering if that's better, but we'll sort that out. Dow, we can even look at the Dow. Hell, for too long, should have sold. Sorry, Michael. Yeah, you're right. It depends where you held it from. If you held it from down here, good on you. That's great. Still, you just tried to have a go. I think that was a key one to be looking at there, that lower high. What else we got there? You can look at APN, APX. Let's take a look. All right, that's I don't know about you, Clem. I tend to just the first thing that stands out that's contracting, and this here I'm assuming we'll draw it up is a bit of a break out of that break out of contraction. But I think we've still got a bit of work to do. I mean, then just always go back and just take a quick look. I mean, this is probably it's good for everyone. Just take a look at how the price, I guess how the price trades. In the past, let's draw it up rather than babbling on. Let's just draw. Where are we? Here we go. I'll take a look at the Dow just for you as well, Paul. Just as all right. So we got that move down, and then it's just gone bang straight up. It's taken out this high. And then you start getting a similar type of price action. You can see that just taking out the lows, just ding, ding, ding. So it does this. Rather than hold up and produce a higher low, which I always like to see, market just basically bang straight up and then starts to build. similar price action. That's what it looked like here. And then it started holding some higher lows as we pushed our way higher until we got a more major lower high. Key level down here was starting to break. Pressure was on, then it was starting to break there. So you got a good leg up, which we've just contracting at the moment. So we've had that. Just go back, take all this out. So we had that leg up, contraction down, and we started a new leg up, and we're contraction down. So the first thing just to notice, well, to look for that price action as it's taken out that low, it washed out this previously, and then we had a move higher. Is it doing the same type of thing? An easy way, this just what I always do, and it is. It's just broken up and out. So for me, you just got a bit of work to do on that one. And I'd be looking for something similar here, which is a tough one to trade. Maybe if it, probably taking, for me, I may be looking for that, whatever that high is. If we can get that around 303. Actually, I know. Let's just drill it right down. That's probably a bit better. So for me, just on this, just remembering what we're drawing up. So we've got that moves south. We're starting to break up out of contraction with this high, and then we're getting that. Maybe we go down again from here and take out this low, and then just go bang. So I think that 303 mark. A few too many lines there. So I think that's 303 mark of that. It just takes out, washes out this low like it has done in the past. And then just be on your toes. I guess that could easily pop up and just go. And then you get this secondary leg higher out of contraction. That could lead us right up to 360. Hope that makes sense anyway. But that's not looking too bad. Obviously a smaller stock. So these ones could go hard and fast. But you can see that after the washout, it pulled back. It probably did, had some decent price action. Could have gone straight up through here, 280. It's just a bit tougher because it just, I don't know if you can understand, but the reason why I like to see a breakout, because it's to me, it's an idea heads up that we're breaking out of contraction, all right? And then you're starting to look for your entry. But these ones, this type of entry, if you can see it, we'll just draw it up a bit better. This type of entry after we've come off this low, this high, then we've had that pullback, say through here as we're holding higher lows. It's a good one, but they could easily just stop and then roll over. So for me, the initial risk reward, because no one knows what's going to happen, that market could have pushed up here and just gone bang, started heading south, and then you're waiting, and then you just get stopped out, or you could lock in, but there was no reason really to lock in something just here. So that's why, even though that's a good entry, if that happens when around here, that's beautiful. You start getting this type of price action, and maybe you get that consolidation and bang, straight up through 303 again. So that's although I like it as an entry, it's just below this. It still could hold that contraction lower. What was the last one? Just want to have a quick look at the Dow. Let's just have a look at the Dow. What is the code? DJI. Dow Jones. There you go. Yeah, it's all with regard to that. Who's a Macquarie Private Wealth? A significant correction on Dow is close, about end of Jan. Yeah, for me, I don't like to predict when, where, how. I would prefer just to go, okay, for me, this structure, okay, the market's up, that anyone can see that it's extended, but we'll just go back a weekly. It's in context to that monthly. You can just see that it's been pressing high. It's been quite strong. We had a correction here, made that lower high, but really only tagged those lows again at 15,500, and then started holding, pressing up quite strong. Just washed out this 1800 level, held around the highs, and it was overextended. If you just look at it, we're up over the highs there, but the pressure came in, but it was really just soaked up. We really didn't have a significant correction there. We could be looking at a bit of the same. It could be, the pressure, it is overstretched at the moment. And we could get a bit of this type of price action where, okay, it goes from oversold to overbought, but the price doesn't go down too hard. Um, so if we just go back to the daily, that is from here. There's got to be, I think this is where fundamentals come into it. Okay, what for a significant correction, you need to have a significant event, in my opinion. Um, something, just got to get my, yeah, you've got to have a reason. So if there's no extreme catalyst, it's going to just create the market just to go bang. Really, that trend is higher until this is the anchor. Okay, um, we could it could just pull back, and then that could be if that's what's she means by a significant correction down to 18,600. Okay, that's it's 1,000 points. So be it. But this thing can do that in a couple of nights. Say a week. Couple of 100 points is big, but it's not as big as it used to be percentage terms as we get to these higher levels. So this market could easily, even pull back to retest 1870, 18700, sorry, and still resume that uptrend. So it depends if she's actually end of January. I mean, it's hard to say. Yeah, but that's the way I view that. It's finding up at 12,000. They've been gunning for 12,000 for a while. Um, better now, yeah. Oh, look, that's the problem. I'm always sticking with that. Just looking at your comment, Paul, just sticking with that. Buy the rumor, sell the fact. Um, and commentators, I mean, Coke was probably as a bit of an example of that, is that it what's going around is a bit negative at the moment, but the chart's telling me that it's potentially already factored in. So if you just listen to them and sell because of them, then you end up, selling the lows, buying the highs because they're always late to the party. They're not, probably sounds bad, they're not traders as such. They're more they're commentators. They're commentators for a reason, I guess. And they, whether the opinion is justified or not, who knows? But a lot of times it can be. But they're always telling what's happening after the fact. Once the market's reacted to some news, and they'll tell you what happened and why they think this is bad, this, that, and the other. But sometimes it's actually just it's a bit too late. I guess you got to have a look at what the actual technicals are doing, what the fundamentals are, and if they start changing, then you adjust your position accordingly. Where was I? Just I get sidetracked easy. Yeah, no, I agree with you, Paul. That's it's true. I mean, if they're saying this is what the thing they say they're gunning for 20,000, and they even if you look at pictures, I was looking at Bloomberg, and they're all walking around the New York Stock Exchange with these hats on, 20,000 or bust or something like that, or T-shirts printed out. If that's not an advert where they're trying to push it up to 20,000 and create the euphoria, and you'll watch it. It'll be all these people who sit there, go, oh, we're 20,000, we're going through, we're going to the moon, and then bang, they just start selling it to these people. And it's always, what it comes down to. You got to have your own opinion and just trade it according to that. Sometimes you're right, sometimes you're wrong. So I guess what we're saying that one in a long-winded way, starting to find a bit of resistance up there. But really, if you just look at it on a very minute scale, it's still holding. That could easily just go bang straight up to and resume, and that could be the contraction everyone's looking for, that pullback, and it hasn't, and it just takes them out. But we'll have to see how that plays out. Either way, I think it's coming down to what's happening now with the reporting now. Company reporting, if they come out in line and strong, it sort of gives reason why there might be profit taking, but um, I don't think there's going to be serious selling if they all come out. A lot of these reports come out in line. There's nothing serious, and they're good outlook, blah blah blah. And then say Trump comes out and starts implementing some of these policies, then the market's up here for a reason. That's why. And if he starts doing it, then why would you sell if you're holding a good position? You need to be proven wrong. If it starts capitulating, yeah, you probably lock something in. But until then, why? I mean, if it starts going a bit negative, then yeah, you've got a little bit of a catalyst for a sell-off. But is it going to just sell down to these levels? It's got that push up. We're just banging around at these highs. Do we just pull back and then start building for another move up? We don't know. And you can see traditionally the Dow doesn't pull back a lot. Just spends a lot of time going sideways and then bang. So it's sort of rather than pulling back to the trend line, it just goes sideways until the trend line catches up and then bang, off we go again. Does that make sense, guys? I'm probably getting to the limit now, so we'll probably finish up there. We'll call it a day. Let's just see where the market is at currently. Yeah, it's gained back a bit of ground. Yeah, so we got really interested in this one here. It's just kicked on, but it's gone a bit hard. It's starting to look like a bit of a blowout there. It really has got through that weekly. It could be heading up to 40. I'm sort of gunning for 40 for the second half on brain chip holdings just to see how it reacts. But yeah, although we just get a chance, this is enough of a pullback. If that's positive, that can just and it is. It's very positive. So it's kicking up towards 40. Then we'll see. We'll assess it then. Alrighty, guys. Thanks for joining us. We'll call it quits there. If you've got any questions, we'll be back on tomorrow anyway at the same time, and then again on Friday, and then we'll start the different structure from, like I mentioned earlier, from Monday. Any questions? Won't be answering them now, but if you want to send through an email, feel free. Otherwise, just keep it for tomorrow, and then we'll get into it tomorrow. Thanks for joining us, guys. Speak to you then. Bye.